Have you ever noticed that the second you announce a new plan, the momentum just dies? You finally get some clarity, you tell a few friends, and almost overnight, the energy completely evaporates. Most of us assume we just lost focus, but there is actually a spiritual pattern at work here. Not everything in your life is meant to be announced while it is still taking shape. Some things have to be protected in private before they can handle public opinion. Let's look at 5 areas of your life you need to guard. We often talk about our lives too early, simply because we want support. You start a new chapter, and it is totally natural to want some encouragement from the people around you. The problem is that talking about what you are going to do gives you an emotional reward before you actually do the work. It tricks your brain into feeling like you already made progress. You end up feeding off other people's reactions instead of trusting the quiet process God is taking you through. Being honest with your inner circle is a good thing. But the goal of maturity is not telling everybody everything. The real issue is talking without discernment. Handing your most fragile moments over to people who cannot handle them will always backfire. Let's look at 5 specific areas where this usually happens. The first thing people expose too quickly is an unfinished plan. Maybe you have a new business idea, a feeling about your calling, or you are just trying to rebuild your life. Our natural instinct is to tell people about the seed we just planted, but showing off that seed does not actually help it grow. It just brings in outside opinions, heavy expectations, and sometimes flat-out jealousy before the thing has roots. Think about Joseph in the Bible. His dream was real, but telling his brothers about it way too early brought him a massive amount of unnecessary trouble. He lacked the maturity to keep a fragile thing quiet. When you explain a new project to the wrong crowd, you end up having to defend it. People will ask questions you cannot answer yet. Soon enough, their casual doubts turn into your own internal hesitation. The crowd is not your healing room. When you are dealing with real pain, like deep fears or an addiction, it is easy to confuse venting with actual healing. People act like putting all their mess out there is the only way to be authentic. But laying an open wound online or in front of an audience usually just creates a lot of noise. Your private struggle turns into public content for people who do not have the capacity to carry it. Casual observers might leave a sympathetic comment, but sympathy cannot put your life back together. The book of Proverbs talks a lot about guarding our words for a very good reason. You absolutely need help, and you need wise people in your corner. The goal is to find the right room, not the biggest audience. And that exact same mistake happens right inside our homes. The third thing you should protect is family and relationship trouble. When a marriage gets tense or a family conflict blows up, emotions run incredibly high. In that heat, people often turn a private argument into a public story. What could have been fixed quietly suddenly becomes a massive mess because you invited outsiders in. Now you are dealing with their biases, their judgments, and their gossip. There is a huge difference between seeking wise counsel and just venting for commentary. God honors the covenant of marriage, and part of honoring that is knowing who gets to speak into it. A healthy boundary means your relationship issues are handled by a pastor, a counselor, or a deeply trusted friend. They do not belong on social media or at a dinner party. The fourth area is a little different, because the danger here is not about protecting yourself. It is about protecting your motives. You should never announce your good deeds just to get a round of applause. Whether it is being generous with your money, fasting, or quietly helping someone out, human nature wants to be seen. But the moment you do it for the recognition, the act itself changes. It stops being about obedience to God and turns into image management. Jesus was very direct about this in Matthew 6. He said, if you do good things just to be noticed, that applause is the only reward you are going to get. Real obedience loses its power when it becomes a performance. Let the good things you do stay between you and God. The fifth thing to guard is any major move or open door that is not totally settled yet. This covers things like a new relationship, a big job transition, or a sudden financial breakthrough. We love to speak with total certainty while the details are still incredibly fragile. But premature excitement brings unnecessary attention. Suddenly you feel this massive pressure to defend a situation that is still taking shape. If a door is truly opened by God, it does not need a premature victory lap to survive. God often forms things in secret and establishes them firmly before they ever go public. Letting things settle shows spiritual maturity. You do not have to force visibility on something God is still arranging. All 5 of these areas really come back to one simple truth. Fragile things need covering way before they need commentary. Wisdom does not mean you have to be totally silent and secretive about your entire life. It just means knowing what to share, when the timing is right, and exactly who deserves to hear it. Think about your own life right now. Pick one area that is still forming, a new plan, a relationship, or a personal struggle, and intentionally reduce the audience around it. Stop giving broad updates to people who cannot help you build it. Ask yourself what needs your quiet protection today instead of public approval.